You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 11th of December. PM Modi, Italy's Deputy PM Tajani review progress on strategic action plan. India urges pragmatic engagement with Taliban, condemns recent Pakistan strikes on Afghanistan. And civil society marches in Karachi against Pakistan's controversial 27th constitutional amendment. And now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Italy's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Antonio Tajani met on Wednesday in New Delhi and expressed appreciation for the progress made in advancing the Italy-India Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025 to 2029. Tajani, currently on a 3-day visit to India, called on PM Modi as part of a wider series of engagements aimed at reinforcing the bilateral partnership across multiple sectors. His visit reflects Italy's growing focus on expanding economic cooperation with India. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, during talks with Tajani, said on Wednesday that the Joint Strategic Action Plan is progressing well.
This is very important for the Italians. Hospitality is crucial for us.
We are really moving forward on the Joint Strategic Action Plan for 2025-29, of which a big part of it was the economic collaboration. And you have taken leadership in moving that. I'm sure you will have very, very good discussions.
Meanwhile, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Parvathaneni Harish, on Wednesday condemned Pakistan's recent airstrikes inside Afghanistan, saying the attacks killed women and children and amounted to a violation of international law. Harish further voiced concern over Pakistan's alleged support for cross-border terrorism and its repeated closure of border crossings, arguing that such actions deepen Afghanistan's isolation and hinder its reconstruction. Top of form, speaking at the session on Afghanistan, Ambassador Harish called on the UN and the international community to adopt more nuanced policy tools that deliver sustainable relief to the Afghan people. He also urged the UN Security Council to pursue pragmatic engagement with the Taliban, warning that relying solely on punitive measures would only perpetuate a business-as-usual scenario.
Coordinated regional and international cooperation on key issues concerning Afghanistan is paramount, as is strongly engaging relevant parties for promoting peace, stability, and development in the country. We have accordingly participated in all rounds of the Doha Working Group meetings and in other regional fora. Madam President, provision of humanitarian assistance and building the capacities of the Afghan people have always remained India's priorities.
In Karachi, civil society groups and ordinary citizens took to the streets today to voice strong opposition to Pakistan's 27th constitutional amendment. Protesters say the amendment undermines democracy, weakens the judiciary, and dangerously expands military authority. We have a report.
From Sadr to the Karachi Press Club, chants for democracy echoed through the city as civil society representatives and citizens marched in protest against the 27th constitutional amendment. Holding placards and raising slogans, demonstrators demanded that the government immediately revoke the controversial measure.
और हम शहरियों को जो रिलीफ मिलता है वो उसी सूरत में मिलता है जब हर अदारा अपनी हदूद के अंदर काम करे। तो हमारा मुतालबा ये है कि ये सदाइशी तरमीम को ख़त्म किया जाए, ये जो ताहयात इस्तिस्ना दिए जा रहे हैं इनको ख़त्म किया जाए, आवाम को रिलीफ दिया जाए, आवाम को पीने का साफ पानी तक आप नहीं दे रहे और आप ये हरकतें कर रहे हैं। तो सबसे पहले आवाम को बुनियादी सहूलतें फराहम करें, महंगाई ख़त्म करें, गरीबों की तनख्वाहें बढ़ाएं, मिनिमम वेजेस दें, सैलरी इस्लाहात करें, आवाम के लिए सोचें, किसानों के लिए सोचें, मजदूरों के लिए सोचें। उनके लिए आप कुछ नहीं सोचते, आप ऐवानों में इस्लाहाबाद में बैठ के अपनी तनख्वाहें बढ़ा रहे हैं, अपने इस्तिस्ना ले रहे हैं, तो शर्म आनी चाहिए।
Speakers at the rally expressed deep concerns over what they describe as a direct attack on democratic principles. They accused the government of pushing constitutional changes without public consultation and condemned the withdrawal of judicial powers under the amendment.
सिविल सोसाइटी और सियासी पार्टियां आज जो ये मुजाहरा कर रही हैं, हम डरने वाले नहीं हैं और हम लोगों ने माजी में भी जियालक के ज़माने में भी सियासत की थी, आज भी कर रहे हैं और हम उनको गवर्नमेंट को बताना चाहते हैं कि हम 27वीं आईनी तरमीम के खिलाफ हैं, हम 26वीं आईनी तरमीम को रद्द करते हैं, हम पीका एक्ट को नहीं मानते और हम तमाम गैर जमहूरी इक़दामात को रद्द करते हैं.
Last month, Pakistan's parliament passed the 27th Amendment, granting lifetime legal immunity to Army Chief General Asim Munir and formally designating him as the Chief of Defense Forces. The amendment also creates a new federal constitutional court where judges will be appointed directly by the president, raising fears of executive influence over constitutional cases.
At the United Nations Security Council, officials have issued a stark warning about Afghanistan's deepening humanitarian and human rights crisis. Georgette Gagan, the Deputy Special Representative for Afghanistan, said women and girls remain systematically excluded from society. She warned that media freedom is shrinking, with journalists facing intimidation and censorship. UN Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher told the Security Council that nearly 22 million Afghans will need assistance next year, making Afghanistan one of the world's largest humanitarian emergencies. More than 17 million people are food insecure, and funding cuts have forced the closure of over 300 nutrition centers. Adding to the strain, Afghanistan has seen record refugee returns, over 2.6 million this year. Women and children make up 60% of those returning. Tensions with Pakistan, border closures and restrictions on female humanitarian workers are further crippling aid delivery. As Afghanistan enters another year of uncertainty, the United Nations says the world cannot afford to look away.
The Afghan people continue to endure multiple crises, and their resilience, while clear, is under severe strain. Their situation demands both urgent attention and greater international support. Women and girls continue to be systematically excluded from almost all aspects of public life. The ban on secondary and tertiary education for girls persists now into its fourth year, depriving Afghanistan of female doctors, entrepreneurs, teachers, and leaders critical to the country today and for its future. Media freedom is increasingly restricted. Journalists face intimidation, detention, and censorship, reducing the space for public debate and public participation, with people excluded from decisions on their own future.
As I witnessed when I visited Kabul, Kandahar, and Kunduz earlier this year, overlapping shocks, restrictive policies affecting women and girls, the long-standing impact of decades of conflict and chronic poverty, and as of this year, massive funding cuts have left Afghanistan in severe humanitarian crisis. Nearly 22 million people will need our help in 2026.
And 33 Indian fishermen from Tamil Nadu who were arrested by the Sri Lankan Coast Guard earlier this month have finally returned home. They landed in Chennai this morning after being released from Sri Lankan prisons. Since many of the fishermen did not possess passports, emergency certificates were issued by Indian officials to enable their travel. The fishermen hailing from Nagapattinam, Mailaduthurai, Kottaipattinam and Rameshwaram were arrested on November 3rd while fishing in the Park Strait. According to officials, they were detained for allegedly crossing the international maritime boundary line. The arrests of Indian fishermen have long been a topic of tension between India and Sri Lanka, with local fishing communities urging stronger diplomatic efforts to secure their safety and livelihood. Fishermen from both sides frequently stray into each other's territory while netting their catch and ending up spending years in jails. And representatives of the Gen Z People's Movement and the interim government of Nepal on Wednesday signed a 10-point agreement amid a growing rift within the group, with members questioning the rationale of signing the deal in the absence of the precedent. The agreement includes provisions for honoring martyr families, providing relief to the injured, and forming commissions to strengthen anti-corruption efforts. The government has committed to setting up a high-level commission to investigate the violent incidents that occurred during the September protests. The Gen Z uprising of September 8th and 9th, which triggered a wave of change in the Himalayan nation, buffered between India and China, resulted in the deaths of at least 76 people and forced then Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to resign. An interim government led by former Chief Justice Sushila Karki was formed following the dissolution of the parliament.
23 गते 24 गतेदेखि निरन्तर हामी सङ्घर्षमै छौँ। आज एउटा सङ्घर्षको एउटा स्टेपसम्म पार भयो, हामी एउटा सम्झौतामा पुग्यौँ। बारम्बार मलाई जेनजी तर्फबाट आउने छोराहरूले भन्ने गरेको थियो कि यो सम्झौता भइदियो भने एउटा इतिहासमा एउटा रेकर्ड हुन्छ, जेनजीको एउटा शहादत भएको, त्यत्रो घाइतेहरू भएको एउटा पहिचान हुन्छ अनि एउटा सङ्घर्षको जस्तो अरू बेलामा सङ्घर्ष भए नेपालमा त्यस्तै एउटा पहिचान हुन्छ भन्ने हामीलाई पनि लागेको थियो।
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.